Is this worth $1,500? Does it live up to the hype? Is it built to last? Kettles, grinders, and now espresso, Fellows been building up to this machine for over a decade. Make sure to check out our unboxing video if you haven't watched it yet, but today we're putting this machine to the test and we'll find out if it was worth the wait. Every other espresso machine in this price range asks you to wait. Fellow claims the Espresso Series 1 heats up in under 2 minutes. Nick himself says 90 seconds. Let's find out. I have the group head set to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and we'll test the temp once the cup fills up. While we're waiting, let's talk about this boosted boiler. What is it? Why should we care? The boosted boiler is Fellow's solution to the problem of temperature consistency that so many home espresso machines struggle with. With small boilers and only 110 volts in domestic outlets, it's extremely tricky to make sure that your water is the same temperature every time you go to pull a shot. This technology was invented by Fellow's VP of R&D, Nick Terzulli. We actually just did an interview with Nick, make sure to check that out. The solution that he found was to have your inlet water flow through a low thermal mass heater to heat up before it enters the mini boiler and then into the independently heated group head. This 3-stage heating allows for highly consistent and precise temperature stability at the puck. Let's see how long it takes before it heats up and dispenses water. All right, it looks like we have about 2 minutes and 23 seconds for our final time before water. Left the group head, let's check the temperature on this as well. Glass is a little bit cool. It might impact it a little bit. Okay, so this is about at 160. With this hot glass now, pull another shot and then check the temperature of that water. Might even peek in here a little bit. All right, looks like we're looking at about 176. All right, so what we did was, since this was about 20 degrees less than what the water should have been coming out, we tested that by heating water in Fellow's kettle actually to the same temperature, tested it in the kettle and it was accurate, and then poured it into a preheated glass and it also dropped about 20 degrees. So that's a perfectly reasonable amount considering it's dropping, a couple of inches through the air. So both of them ended up being right around 175, 180. Their temperature at the group head seems to be a pretty reliable claim. So one of the huge draws of this machine is that somebody who doesn't really know that much about coffee, how to make espresso, any of that stuff, can get the machine and it can walk them through it a little bit. Let's get into this menu here and look at the guided drink making features and see how it can help us and what it looks like. So what we're gonna do here is let it walk us through making a drink. We open up the menus here. Make a drink is where we're gonna wanna go, and then they actually have all of these different drinks to guide us through. So it looks like we've got an Americano, cappuccino, espresso, flat white, latte, and tea. I'm curious what their definitions of cappuccino and flat white are in here. So let's try flat white and see what it guides us to. So get 18 grams of coffee, lower the portafilter with it. All right, let's take that, get our coffee. It can volumetrically stop the shot, but we don't have that on right now. right, there's our shot. It was a little bit fast, but you know, fast isn't always bad. So what's up next? Let's see here. It wants us to fill a pitcher with 4 ounces of dairy milk. Begin steaming. Stopped us to be about at 135. One thing that Jack mentioned that's actually super nice is since this whole thing's insulated, it's really easy to actually get the milk off. And once you put that down, it's gonna auto purge there. Let's check our temp quickly. Yeah, 135.3. One of the hardest things to getting good milk drinks is getting your milk temperatures right. So that's a game changer. Been a minute since Nick's had to pour. Mess up the top there a little bit, but all right, great. Well, that looks like a nice flat white, if you ask me. And that was very easy. So I'm happy with the outcome of that. Maybe I should give it a taste. Pretty good. As a disclaimer, we bought this machine. Fellow did not send this to us. We wanted to give an honest review and help you make a purchasing decision. But if you decide the Series 1 is for you, we do have an affiliate link in the description below if you want to buy through that and support us. All right, so we looked at how it can help guide you through a drink, and the end result was pretty good. The milk was the right temperature, the shot pulled well, all of that looked really good. So now we're gonna look at how it can actually help you dial in espresso. This is something that a lot of people don't really know how to do unless you've worked in a cafe or are an enthusiast. So this can kind of give you that guidance. So let's look at how that actually works. So if we go to make a drink, make an espresso. Again, it's gonna ask for 18 grams of coffee, so let's get that together. Okay, so ideally here, we don't need a scale because it's gonna be doing volumetric, but I'll still put one under for our own reference so that we can actually compare notes. It put out 30.6 grams, which is really close to 30. If 30 is what they're shooting for, that volumetric was really close. It's a quick shot though, obviously. We coarsened it up a bit so that we could have some room to dial in. Let's give it a taste. You know, not terrible, could use some work. It's a little thin, and now it's asking here, brew too fast. So it brewed in about 15 seconds. So it shows a little range here for how quick we want it to brew. We're all the way up here. We want it to be right here, more near the middle. So it says grind finer for a 30 to 40 second shot. So it seems like its dial-in guidance is based on time. That's pretty much learning the basics of espresso. That's a helpful guideline. That's how the guidance would work. So what we would do is we would follow that, fine it up. And my assumption is if we made it too fine, it would obviously pull slower. And if it pulls too slow, then it would again give brew guidance to speed it up or slow it down. Not super high tech, but helpful feature is this little indicator here. It's just a little floater, and it'll float up when the drip tray is full. So we've been running it today, and the drip tray is full, so we need to empty it out. Otherwise, we're gonna have an emergency on our hands. All right, so we tested that dial-in feature. We saw that based on the time that the shot is pulling, it'll give you guidance whether or not you need to make it coarser or make it finer. That's super helpful for somebody who is just learning how to pull a shot. They don't really necessarily know, how do I make this better? Why did that pull so crazy? It can give you that kind of guidance, which is helpful. One thing that did happen was since we were using the volumetric, it pulled a little bit short. So a volumetric is going to put out a specific volume of water, where there's time-based as well, which is gonna put out water for a certain amount of time. So the volumetric should be close, but it was actually 6 grams shy. It was supposed to pull 236, and it pulled to 30 grams instead, pretty much on the dot. If you are somebody who's going to rely heavily on that volumetric, you're gonna use that a lot, and you're looking for that, this might not quite be there yet. Whether or not that's gonna change, whether or not that's a software update, stuff that can just be tweaked, don't know, but it was a little bit short. What we're gonna look at now is there are a lot of options in this menu to really be able to tinker with what's going on inside of here. Pre-infusion, ramp down, temperatures and times and all that kind of stuff. You can edit and make custom profiles. We are going to look at a custom profile that we've worked on, and we're gonna pull a shot with it and see how it goes. Jack has gone through the effort of making a Slayer imitation shot here. So what we're gonna do is select that. You can select the dose, ratio, temperature, declining temp, transition. There's tons of things. You can do pre-infusion, infusion, infusion 2, ramp down, and you can control temperature and times on all of those things. So there's a ton of controls. I'll be out of breath if I try and list them all. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna make that the active profile. So whatever active profile you select is gonna be your default what happens when you click this brew button. We've got our 18 grams ground coffee in our blind shaker here. A little bit of paper filters. If you guys listen to our podcast, you know how big of a fan of the paper filter I am. Paper filter on the bottom for clarity. Paper filter on the top for distribution. All right, so let's just start this and we'll stop it when we're ready. So something that this Slayer profile is gonna do is actually provide a pre-infusion. Came out fast there at the end. So Slayers are, you typically do longer pre-infusion. So that shot pulled pretty nice. It was a little quick. That pre-infusion soaks that puck, and so then when the water does come at full flow rate, it doesn't really have to fight much. It can fly right through there. What do you think, Jack?
We'll start. Not bad though. No bitterness at the end as well.
Do you notice the clarity? I know you haven't had a paper filter shot before.
Clear as day.
Clear as day. The Espresso Series 1 is a huge leap in home espresso, unlike anything that we have seen thus far. Through testing it, it has lived up to many of the claims and can make incredible espresso, but it's not perfect. There are some areas where it falls short, especially on the software side. Something we would like to see happen are some updates related to the troubles we ran into. Volumetric based shot pulled a little short. We also noticed the hot water tap, which you're supposed to be able to adjust the temperature of, can't be changed. As far as making custom profiles goes, it's possible, but only through this small screen on the machine right now. The hope is to be able to do this through the app and also to be able to share profiles with others and have fellow drops integration. Right now, the app is pretty much a glorified manual, not much more except for some information. We would love to see more app integration, both to make things simpler and to let us dig deeper. Lastly, we're missing the classic fellow Easter egg, the game, which it's not very hidden. They have a little secret to find it there, but we know that it'll come soon in a future software update. To answer the question that we began this video with, is this worth $1,500? Yes, but it depends on who's buying it and what you want to do with it. To the coffee enthusiast who wants to make great espresso at home, yes, you have a lot of control. The temperature stability seems to be there. It's going to offer a lot of things that you enjoy about a commercial machine, but simplify them and bring them into your home. To the casual coffee drinker, I think it's a bit more complicated. $1,500 is a huge investment for someone who's not that into coffee, so you want it to work flawlessly. You're paying that much for simplicity and peace of mind. What I've seen is people who spend so much on a machine and struggle to use it. It seems like this machine really tries to help with that, but it still falls short just a little bit in ways that I think they can improve on in software updates. So if you are looking as a casual buyer for a home machine and you have $1,500 to spend, this machine is better than the Breville you can buy. To the coffee freaks who are out there and are looking to drop some serious cash on coffee equipment, this machine can do quite a lot. Doesn't to us seem to be competing with other machines like the Breville, but more so machines like Decent. Although you might find this machine doesn't offer quite as much as a Decent, it being half the cost really does free up your money to invest in a better grinder, other equipment, while still offering quite a lot of functionality. And I expect its capability to only grow as they release more and more updates. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We hope that you really enjoyed it. Hope that we gave you some helpful information. Maybe you're a little bit more excited about this machine than you were before. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe. We have other videos on product reviews, and we're hoping to do more in the future. And we also have a podcast that comes out every other Tuesday, Equal Parts Coffee Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you next time.